Welcome to another video. Today we're going to talk about function overloading in C++. So in simple words, function overloading is when we have more than one definition of a function, um, with varying parameters. And this is what we're going to demonstrate today as well. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to declare an integer array and I'm going to call it int list. Okay, this is 10 elements long and I'm going to initialize it as well. So let's say 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8 9 0. Next up we have a character array, so char list, and I'm going to initialize this as well. So I'm going to say A, B, C, D, and E. Okay, so 5 characters, I have 5 characters. So what I want to do is I want to write a print function, and while advanced concepts in C++ allow us to write generic functions, but that is not really the purpose of this video. The purpose of this video is to explain what we mean by function overloading. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to write a print function, which is a void function. It's called print, and it takes in an integer as a parameter. It takes in an integer array. Okay. Now this function, writing this function obviously is pretty simple. So we have a for loop, int I is 0, I less than 10, I plus plus, and inside here I just have a cout statement. I'm going to say cout list I and give a space after every element. And so this function should just print the list. What I'm going to do is I'm just going to print an end line for aesthetics. Now, because I've defined this below the main function, I'm going to write the prototype. Now, interestingly, you can write all of your functions above the main function and never have to write prototypes. I feel that a set of prototypes is a good list of all the functions that you have. So it's a good reminder which tells you what different functions you have. So I always declare my functions below the main functions, and therefore I have a copy or a signature of every function just above the main function for quick reference. For instance, if I want to know what kind of parameters a function takes, I don't have to go to the definition of the function. I can just look it up from the prototype. So that's just a quick tip. Okay, now notice that I'm going to write another definition of the same function. So I'm still calling it print, but instead of passing integer array, this function takes in a character array. And the same, I'm going to copy and paste the same for loop, and so this one runs from 0 to 5, and that's it. Now next we need to call these functions, so I'm going to say print. Now if I pass in int list, I can pass an int list and I can pass in the character list as well. So there's a difference. This one, this definition uses the integer array, and this one uses the character array, but more importantly, this one calls the first definition of print, and this one calls the second definition of print. So this is interesting. Let me go ahead and write down the second prototype as well. This is a character array, and so I've called this function. Let's run it. Let's see how this goes. So it prints 1 to 0, and then it prints A, B, C, D, E. It's printing new lines because I have an end line here. I should have actually printed the end line at the beginning of before the for loop. So I should have actually put a cout here saying end line, and then I would have everything printed in the same line. So the cout end line, you can run it and we just print everything A, B, C, D, and 1, 2, 3. So the idea of function overloading is that you can have a function, more than one definitions of function, a function with the same name but with varying parameters. I can have another, just to show you, I can have another function called print, which will still be an overloaded version of the function that takes an integer a and an integer b and simply prints the sum. So cout a plus b, and the call for this would be very similar, but I won't be passing in any arrays. I'll just say int print 2, 3, and I will need a prototype for it too. So print an integer, another integer, and so sum is 5. So these technically are all of these functions have the same name, and now you do know that we cannot have two functions with the same name except when they are overloaded. So in other words, if you have two functions with the same name, they would be considered as overloaded functions. I hope this helps, and if you have any further questions, please comment below. If you like the video, please hit the like button and subscribe. Thank you very much.